welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and spring is upon us, and I'm happy.
Even I'm happy. You know, it's not my favorite time of year, but who can't love, it's the sunshine, makes you feel good.
Oh, it does. I'm literally, when we leave today, I'm going to go home and spot kill some weeds. Oh, gosh, yesterday we had the kids out there, and we were raking, and my stuff, I've got butterfly bushes coming up, my tulips are coming up, my daylilies, oh, I love
Yeah, my daylilies are looking good, actually.
But it's a funny story. So we are approaching Easter, right? So I love Easter. It's my favorite holiday. And so I always do a big Easter egg hunt, and we hide a lot of stuff for the children, but then I hide stuff out there for the big kids. Lottery tickets and little bottles of wine. I mean, nothing sells the Resurrection Sunday like lottery tickets and alcohol, right?
Oh, my gosh, Stacey, you're hilarious.
And so anyway, I was cleaning out, and I found a little bottle of wine that the kids missed last year at Easter.
Gosh. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I'll find Easter eggs for a while. But, I wasn't expecting a little bottle of wine. But, I had my free child labor. Jack and Joanna were at the house. So, oh, my gosh, we cleaned out the chimney. Like where you clean out the soot from like the burnt stuff.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah. When we cleaned off, we were all over the place. We had a good time yesterday.
They probably like that, though.
They'd love it. We made 2 trips down to the dump, and people are really starting. I cannot get over how my stuff is growing. So.
Yep. Everything's turning green in my yard.
Yeah. I'm pretty soon. It probably won't be long, and we'll be knocking on mowing the yards. But
well, actually, my neighbor already mowed.
Who's your neighbor?
Don Rocket.
Oh, and he's already mowing?
Yes, he mowed.
I love it. Yeah, so it's going to be, there's a lot going on, but I do love the springtime, and I love cleaning that up. And so I'm just waiting for everything. Farmer's market, put a thing out coming soon.
I can't wait for them to open.
Oh, I love it.
And each year I have a big front porch, so every year I kind of do a color scheme. Like some years I do pink, some years I did red and white, and it was my house is gray, and I went all patriotic one year. This year I think I'm going all yellow against the gray.
Oh, I love yellow. Yellow's my favorite color.
So I'm excited about that.
Yellow, orange is a real close second, but yellow's my absolute favorite color. But ooh, that'll look pretty on the gray house. Your decorating skills since you remodeled the house, they are on point now.
Yes, I'm. What is it? The older you get, the more I don't know. There's a saying about that. I can't think about it.
I don't know.
The more you know, the more you grow. I'm not sure what I'm thinking.
The older you get, the more you buy. I don't know. It's crazy, but everything's just going beautiful, and we are in. Beth and I are in. Right in the middle of the Nostalgia Theater show.
That's right.
And I'm excited about this show. Last night, we actually hit the stage at the theater. We don't have music or anything like that yet, but I'm excited about this play. First of all, I like the 1950s.
So for those I love the 1950s too, but for those that don't know, Stacey and I co-direct a play each spring at Nostalgia Theater, and it is community theater. And we have amazing, talented actors and actresses and singers that come in and perform in our plays. And this year, Stacey picked a really cool script, and it's set in the 1950s. And I may or may not be wearing a poodle skirt.
I'm wearing a poodle skirt. My poodle skirt. Oh, funny story. Oh, my gosh. So, back in the day when the Depot shows were going strong, Ann Casterson made all my costumes.
Oh,
she
really?
made me an old mammy. She made my little baby doll dress. She made me a flapper's outfit, and she made me the cutest poodle skirt. It's black with a hot pink poodle on it. It's got like the gold leash coming up. I love this poodle skirt. Well, guess who can't get into the poodle skirt?
You?
Maybe me. It won't go up over my hips, but it would go down this way. But I still can't. It's about this far from... And it's that material that don't stretch.
Yeah, that
So
felt.
I'm blaming the material.
You could probably put another piece in.
Well, my cousin Diane Hempill, not my sister Diane Hempill. There's 2 Diane Hemphills. My cousin Diane Hempill, Diane Conklin Hempill. She's a seamstress. So she came and got my poodle skirt, and she took the zipper out and put an elastic in, and putting a panel in. But this is what's funny. So I'm thinking, okay, no big deal. Rip out the zip, throw some elastic in there because I don't sew, and easy breezy.
Oh, right, yeah.
Easy breezy. So anyway, we're in there, and she's like, well, I'll have to add some fabric to the back. And I'm like, why would you have to add some fabric to the back? And she said, because you've added some fabric to your back, Stacey. Well,
funny.
because you've had a little fat, and I'm like,
shoot.
oh, so apparently that little triangle back there that won't go together. I guess you got to fill that in. But
Yeah.
I'm excited because it's my poodle skirt that I've literally had. Well, how old am I? What am I, 56, something like that? And I think I've had this poodle skirt probably, when did I get married? 21? I've had this poodle skirt probably since I was like 24, 25 years old.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. It's the cutest little thing, and I wanted to wear it again.
Yeah, mine's black too.
Yeah.
But my poodle is white.
Your poodle's white?
Actually, it might not be a poodle. It might be a cat.
So it's a cat skirt?
Well, they called them poodle skirts, but there was a different thing. They weren't always poodles.
Yeah, right.
There was other things on
Who
there.
came up with that? We need to YouTube who came up.
Yeah,
or
who
Google,
invented the?
Hey Ty, Google who came up with the poodle skirt.
Who thought that was a good idea to put a picture of a poodle on their skirt?
Because I think it's genius.
Yeah, I think it's pretty.
You know,
darn
I've told
cute.
you the story about my elephant pants that I love so much. Well, I love my poodle skirt more, and I just I don't know. It's just a lot of fun. But yeah, so and what's good, what I love about this, it's like a diner setting, 1955. It happened on Route 66 is the name of it, and it's the 50s music.
Right.
It's got 50s music. The costumes are going to be fun. It's a funny play.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's a funny
We'll
play.
be performing it on April 13th and 14th.
12th and 13th.
12th and 13th. April 12th and 13th, 2024.
Yeah,
At Nostalgia Theater in downtown Flora.
At 7 p.m.
Showtimes are 7 p.m. So
You're going to hear me talk about it a lot because we need to get it out there. Because we're going to start advertising. What do we advertise on Facebook and all that stuff? Oh, Ty's got something for us. What?
Her name is Julie Lynn Charlotte.
Julie Lynn Charlotte invented the poodle skirt.
She created it because she needed a last-minute Christmas skirt.
She created it because she needed a last-minute Christmas skirt.
I love her. Why
Good for her, Julie.
Why'd she put a poodle on it, not Santa skirts? Maybe she had a poodle.
Maybe she did have a poodle.
Pattern, and she's like, well,
Why not?
make it Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Well,
I like
so
Christmas.
my favorite thing, my poodle skirt, and your favorite thing came together. Christmas.
Merged.
Huh, like it.
That is great.
But anyway, yeah, it happened on Route 66,
Yes.
Nostalgia Theater, April 12th and 13th, 7 o'clock. I'll be talking about it a lot because I want everybody to come because we are still fundraising for the theater because we can't get a grant.
That's right.
So
We
boom,
need money.
shakalaka.
We need money.
We need money. Okay.
Yes.
Speaking
of money,
of money. Well,
you got some?
I don't have money, no.
Okay, shoot. I need
No.
it.
I'm going to tell you what. Okay, so usually I pick the ads for the, you know how we start
yeah.
everything with an ad?
Yeah, we always start the show with an ad. Stacy's usually the one in charge. She finds the ads and brings them in. But this week, I found two in the past week. I'm going to use one on this show and one on another show, and they were both fantastic.
This one we're going to show in this episode.
You're going to love
I
it.
was just like, I have found some crazy ads, but this one's the best. Where'd you even find this ad?
There's a Facebook page I follow that has like old nostalgic stuff on it, and someone else shared it on there, and I was like, I've got to save that because
Okay,
this is
I love it. I'm glad you
fantastic.
saved it.
I don't know what magazine it came out of for sure, but
It
it
doesn't
probably
matter.
ran in all of them. Honestly,
I don't know, but it's great.
Let's check it out, Ty.
Check this out. Liquid lead.
Dutch Boy Liquid Lead. Paint now with this convenient all lead paint. The newest form of the oldest paint, made of pure white lead, ready for the painter's brush. Given a weatherproof elastic coat which wears down slowly and evenly. Gives a weatherproof elastic coat which wears down slowly and evenly. No dangerous or costly burning off necessary when a new coat is applied. Dutch Boy flat wall paint is convenient, ready mixed white lead for interior walls. The painter using this material produces a soft, dull finished surface which washes like porcelain, easily tinted any color you want. Manufactured by National Lead Company.
Oh my God.
Sold by Arthur C.
Tabor.
Middlebury.
I'm gonna tell you what. I wonder if Arthur got his rear end sued. Look at the little
Arthur died of lead poisoning. Okay.
I love it. Look at the little Dutch boy over there.
Yeah.
Ooh, pretty lead paint.
Yeah, let me smell that.
Okay, so like real. I don't know. Beth sent me these ads, and I'm like, oh my God, liquid lead. But it's okay. So like real talk. When did we figure out that lead paint was bad?
I don't think we figured it out until Ty can look it up, but I don't think we figured it out until like the late 70s, 80s.
Yeah, because like our house was built in the 30s or 40s. I can't remember I think Jim. I say it's sometime in the 30s. Jim says the 40s. I'm assuming I'm right.
Probably.
He's
not here. He's not here to defend himself, so we're just going to go with the 30s.
And so, the entire house was full of lead paint? I think.
So many old houses are full of lead paint.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you?
And then there's this other Facebook page I follow called Old Houses on Facebook, where you can view old houses, and people that own old houses ask questions. And there's so many people that own old houses, and their kids and their grandkids have done a lead test and completely bombed it. Their lead levels are too high because of the lead paint in the houses. Anyway, Ty, what'd you find? 1978 is when they discovered lead paint.
They banned lead paint in 1978.
That was 46 years ago.
And we don't know. That ad didn't have a date on it, did it?
No, it did not.
It didn't have a date on it.
But it was pretty old. I would say that ad was probably from the 50s.
So we've been poisoning ourselves for 30 years.
Yeah, and they were advertising it as a good thing, like pure liquid lead. And it's like, no, you'll have lead poisoning. Like a lot of people were very sick from that.
I wonder what happens when you have lead poisoning.
You die, I think, eventually. I think you get really sick and then I don't know. Shuts down your organs. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but
bad news bears is what that is. That is
and then
not
the little
good.
boy, the little Dutch boy, just
Yay!
watch
blue paint.
Yay! Smell the paint. Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably painted the walls, but
everything was covered in that.
Everything. So
because it stayed on really good. You didn't, and it did have things going for it. They're right. It washed up well. It stayed on the walls well. You could color it. All of these things, and people that have the lead paint in their houses have a hard time getting rid of it, I think.
Yeah,
because you have to scrape it all off, and you can't just cover it with new paint.
I'm thinking the majority of us probably just painted right over them. We just killed that baby, put the kills on it, and covered right over it. I would imagine back. Any house that was prior to the 80s was probably any house that was built. I'm sure all had that paint.
Yep.
Then it makes you wonder when they discovered. Was like, oh wow, this doesn't, I guess people just got sick. I don't know. I don't really know. That might be a story in itself.
Yeah, we could probably do a whole episode on all the people in Florida that had lead poisoning.
Yeah, we could because we have that book on.
We have the book on the deaths.
We have the book,
but I don't know.
We have the book of death.
The book of death. But I don't know that they might have classified it as that if they weren't aware it was a thing. They probably called it something else.
Dysentery.
Yeah, dysentery. When in fact they were all poisoned by lead. When in fact
it was dysentery. Hey, did you ever watch that TV show Ghost?
Yes, I love that show.
I do too.
Have you watched the British version of it?
No.
Oh well, it's even better.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to watch. I'm serious. It's on. I can't. I stream it on Hulu, so I don't know what it's on. Seriously, it's
on
funny.
CBS. It's called Ghost. It's hilarious. It's a 30-minute sitcom. Hilarious.
It is great. But one of the guy there that was one of the.
It's not scary.
It's not scary. Oh no, it's funny. It's not scary at all. But he died of dysentery.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a commercial break and come right back with who only knows what we might say.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Give me all your lumber. Dog. parts: paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas,
What?
you better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we have a interesting show planned. I'm not going to call it fun because it's a sad one, but it is interesting, and it is all about the Spanish influenza of 1918 and how it affected Clay County.
Right. And it did. It affected, just like COVID affected us all.
Yeah. It was a pandemic. At that time, a lot of people called it epidemic. I think the difference is whether it was worldwide or just countrywide. And this Spanish influenza was definitely worldwide. But back then, the communication between all the countries wasn't as strong as it is today. I mean, there wasn't internet or I don't know if the telephone was invented, but not everybody had one. And then, people just didn't know that it was also raging in Australia, and every single country in the world had this Spanish influenza.
You really wouldn't know. I mean,
no.
You wouldn't
But
know.
when I think about Spanish influenza, I think about Downton Abbey.
well,
Okay, so
I love Downton Abbey.
Oh, I do too.
Oh man,
So,
I love it.
if you've watched Downton
live in
Abbey,
that
or
house.
even if you haven't, it's set in England, and it affected the family. They had guests at their home. There was a young lady that died of it in their home. But that's what I think of, and I think of it being far away. Like, I don't think about it being home.
No.
I think about it, it was in Europe. It was affecting all the World War I troops that were in France. It was over there. I don't think about it being here, but it certainly was.
But I mean, I'm sure we're going to get into the conversation of why was it called the Spanish flu.
Yeah. So
Maybe that's
this was
why.
in the midst of World War I. This flu began, and they called it Spanish flu not because it had anything to do with Spain, but Spain was the enemy,
Right.
and so they started calling it that, like, as a dig toward them.
Okay.
So yeah, it didn't really have anything to do with Spain. So just to get started, before I kind of go into what was happening here in Florida with the flu,
Let's get familiar with that.
let's talk about the Spanish flu in general. It infected around 500 million people.
500
That's
million.
about 1/3 of the world's population at the time.
Wow.
So there's a lot of different estimates on how many people died, but it was considered to be one of the deadliest pandemics in history. I did not compare it to COVID because the differences between COVID and the Spanish flu, well, there's several, but COVID, a lot of deaths were written down as COVID deaths that really weren't. The people tested positive at the time of their death, but they actually died from something else. So our numbers are always going to be skewed on that.
Yeah, the numbers
because
are.
there was so much money involved. The hospitals got a payback if they had certain
Absolutely.
COVID deaths. So if someone died of cancer, but at the same time they did test positive for COVID, then
We called
anyway.
it
So, without getting too political into that,
political.
the numbers on the Spanish flu were really
real.
Spanish flu deaths. And an early estimate from 1927 that put the global mortality rate at 21.6 million. Okay, so that's the mortality rate. So when I said 500 million, that was how many was infected.
Okay.
Not necessarily died.
Everybody died.
Okay.
Nobody- yeah.
Mortality rate that they thought in 1927, they said 21.6 million. But then they re-estimated it again in 1991, now that they had a little bit more technology behind it. And then they estimated that it was actually more like 25 to 39 million people.
Jeez, that's a lot of people.
Then in 2005, they had another estimate done because, again, they had more technology or whatever. I don't know. They decided to revisit it. That put the death toll at 50 million and is possibly as high as 100 million. Okay, big difference. Okay, but then in 2018, they decided again to revisit it and decide how many died. and they decided the 2005 number was a little high, and that estimate brought it down to 17 million, which is lower than the first one.
Yeah.
So they've been all over the map with how many people globally died.
Well,
and that is because not our numbers here, our numbers in other countries were not well recorded, specifically Russia.
So exactly. So what would the and if you're talking, what's the difference in the population in 1918 compared to 2018? I would assume there's more people on the earth now
Oh, right. There definitely
than there
is.
was.
But they were
so you're
still
talking millions of. I mean, that's a lot of.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
But in Europe, the death toll was between 2 million and 2.3 million. 12 to 17 million people died in India, which is about 5% of their population. Let's see, there's so many countries. Finland, 20,000 died out of 210,000 that were infected. In Sweden, 34,000 died. Japan, 500,000. The Dutch East Indies, 1.5 million. In Tahiti, 13% of their population died in 1 month.
Oh my!
1 month. Australia, 20,000 people. It says in the U.S. about 28% of the population, and the population at that time was 105 million, became infected, and then 500,000 to 850,000 died. The Native Americans were particularly hit hard, and the whole villages just completely wiped out of the Native Americans. In Brazil, they had 300,000 died, including their president, Rodrigues Alves. France, over 400,000. So this, mainly the first wave was in 1918. And there was the first wave, which was deadly, but not crazy deadly. And then they had a second wave in 1918 that was even deadlier than the first. So it said the first wave had resembled typical flu epidemics, and those most at risk were the sick and the elderly, while younger, healthier people recovered pretty easy. But in October 1918, that was the month with the highest fatality rate, October 1918. And then it kind of, the second wave was kind of like, it didn't matter if you were young and healthy, you still couldn't recover. Like, not many were recovering. Then there was a third wave in 1919, and then a fourth wave in 1920. And then by that time, it kind of had ran its course.
So this just continued. I mean, was there ever a break in the sick? Are we talking like 2008? I mean, it just continued for those years.
I think it
we're not
kind of
talking-
just
there's no
continued,
vaccines,
but basically they do call it waves. So I think it surged at certain times,
Like
and then
we
it got
see
better.
different illnesses here come up, and
Yeah. But October to November of 1918 was the worst, and people were just sick everywhere with it. And so in Clay County, in October 1918, so this is the worst month, Clay County's headline on their front page of their paper was, "In the Grip of Influenza." So in just that month, there were about 250 new cases of the flu reported in Florida alone. So that's not countywide, that's just Florida. And then that is when the city authorities, the schools, the churches, the theaters, the library, any place that you could get together publicly were closed indefinitely. So kind of like COVID.
kind of like
Everything
They shut
just
it down.
closed down, and people were wearing masks. They were wearing white homemade masks. So what's important to say about it is that more people lost their lives to this influenza than died in World War I. So you think about World War I being, all these men dying, but the number of lives lost in combat in World War I was estimated at 10 million. And then worldwide, 23 to 30 million is what's estimated.
My
had died.
goodness.
So more, double or triple the amount that died in World War I. And that's just
hard to comprehend.
Yeah, because a lot of people died from COVID, but the numbers were not like that.
And if you're talking, and then you're talking like the early 1900s. Now, just put this in perspective. You've got a county like Clay County, and you've got people, probably several dying a day. Think about the overwhelming like your hospitals, your undertakers.
yeah.
I mean, think about what that does.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I'm not sure what the average person in Clay County dies daily anyway. But can you imagine if you've got several hundred people every single day dying? Where do you put? I mean, it opens up a whole can of worms whenever you think about it.
Oh, right. So the influenza was known simply as the flu, although some people called it the grip. Excuse me. And it was a virus infection of the respiratory tract. So what happened is they got sick with the flu, but the people that died, it always turned into pneumonia.
Yeah.
And
Which is pretty much what happens a lot.
Yes.
Did you ever come in your research, did you ever come across like an age? Like, did it affect everybody, or was there like an age?
Yeah, well,
the
at first
elderly,
it
or
was just elderly and sick people.
Right.
But then kind of in the midst of it, it was just pretty much anybody. It was affecting everybody.
And
so
it probably just kept snowballing and snowballing and snowballing.
yeah. And it also affected, so many of the soldiers died from it because they were in close proximity to each other
Right.
and in the trenches, and it spread like wildfire.
Can you imagine, here you are in World War I. Of course, I don't know if at the time if they called it World War I. I don't know. But you're in
No,
this
they
war,
didn't.
and then you got this terrible virus,
Yeah.
the flu on top. I'm telling you what, I can't even fathom.
So at the time, there were 7 doctors in Flora, and it says they were almost driven to desperation in their efforts to answer calls day and night caring for flu patients. I can't imagine.
I can't either.
There was only 7 of them. That's just in Flora. I mean, Louisville had doctors, Clay City had doctors, Sailor Spring even had a doctor.
Yep.
You know, like all these little towns.
Yeah, they all had 'em.
They all had them, but I can't imagine the load that was on them to care for all these people, and also not just like the physical load of like actually going in and trying to help them when there's really hardly any medicine available, but to have to look at their loved ones and you know, like you see this patient and you know they're probably going to die. Do you tell the family like I don't think he's going to make it, or do you just
not to mention
that you're probably going to be next?
Yeah. Not to mention the fear of the doctor going into the war zone here at home.
Yeah.
You know, and thinking, okay, now I'm going in here, and then I might be taking it back to my own family.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I can't. The panic would be.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if the panic was like, because like when COVID happened, people panicked on that, and we're like, this was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I wonder if the panic was, or if it was, they're just like, oh, well, it is what it is. But we'll take a quick commercial break and come right back.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online bank, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we are talking about the Spanish flu of 1918.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
It is interesting, and I mean, it is an important part of Clay County history because a lot of people died right here in Clay County, and you don't think about that.
Do you remember studying it in school?
The Spanish flu?
I don't think we just.
Nope.
I'm trying to think back of like history project. I don't think we ever studied that in school.
I feel like when we studied World War I, it was mentioned as like, by the way, a lot of people that were in the trenches fighting this war actually died of the flu, not of gunshot wounds or anything like that.
Right.
You know, and I was like, oh man,
That's
but
bad.
it wasn't like, oh, this was a real big deal worldwide.
Right.
Millions and millions of people died worldwide.
Well, and it should be taught. I mean, I don't know. It's very interesting.
Right. And, you know, before COVID, I would have found this like really fascinating and been like, oh, that's crazy. That would never happen now because we have medicine and we have, you know, everybody knows about bacteria and to cover your cough and people know that sneezing, you know, spreads germs but yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it happened anyway.
Rumble.
All right. So there were 7 doctors in Clay County and they recommended to all their patients these things: stay inside, keep warm after the symptoms appear, and with proper care, they would all get better within a few days. And that would prevent pneumonia from coming on. However, many of the earlier patients did not heed their advice, and pneumonia often appeared and could be fatal. So, you know, just like today, people think they know better than the doctor.
Right.
They're like, stay inside. Well, I'm just gonna run to the store real quick and get a few groceries. So I'm just gonna, you know, and it's like,
I'm just gonna go out and wash my car. I'm gonna sneeze all over the place.
So the victims of the disease, like I said earlier, were of all ages and walks of life. There was a woman from Flora. She had just moved to Salem right before this. Her name was Mrs. Roy Meisenheimer. She died at her home in Salem. She and her husband and her children had recently moved there from Flora, and she was recovering from the flu when 2 of her children got the illness.
Oh, my.
And in a weakened condition, she tried to take care of them, and then she developed the pneumonia, and she died. So she did too much. And then right after she died, one of the sons died. So that family lost
sad.
2. But this was around the time that people were suddenly like, okay, doctor's onto something. Maybe we should do a little bit more quarantining. So they started to do more quarantining, people really pushing everyone to just stay at home for a while.
And honestly, okay, I'm just going to throw this wrench in the thing. In 1918, really, what are you doing?
Yeah. Sunday visits, you'd go visit people on Sunday afternoon. You went to the stores on Saturday. You went to church. But there was no basketball games in the evening that everyone was. There was no travel. I mean, they might have had basketball, but not like they do now. And it might have been like, you know, no travel ball teams. No,
that's what I'm thinking.
All the kids are at practice every night until 6 or 7.
Yeah,
and you got to go pick them up.
I'm just thinking the foot traffic's not what it is now.
Yeah.
So really, people, and women aren't working pretty much. I mean, at large, you know, I don't know.
Most women were home anyway.
Think it'd be like what because I'm back in my little house on the prairie days, and
well, it wasn't quite that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago, but still, you know, of course, you would had. You know, the speakeasies. We're hitting the 20s. We're hitting the flappers, so people were boozing it up.
So in Newton, Jasper County closed all the schools, churches, and public places. Olney, Richland County followed suit, and then Salem followed suit after that. On October the 24th of 1918, again, this is right in the really bad month, South Sanford News, which I don't know, was that an old newspaper in Flora? I'm not sure, reported an epidemic raging, and that there were many new cases. Another headline in the newspaper was Doctor court-martialed and shot. I thought this was interesting. So 15 soldiers died at Camp Benjamin Harrison, and that's near Indianapolis, Indiana, so just 2 hours from here. And one of the Army physicians who had been vaccinating the soldier boys as a preventative from the dreaded disease was found to have poison germs in his vaccine.
Okay, what?
This is a total side note. So all these soldiers are sick everywhere, not just in the trenches, but the ones back home. Soldiers were getting hit really hard because they were all living in close quarters. So all of these ones over in Indianapolis were sick. This doctor claims to have a flu vaccine. He starts vaccinating all of these boys, and come to find out what was in the vaccine was poison.
Did he know that it was? Did he know what he was doing?
Is not known. I mean, it's not said in this article. So that would, Ty, you could Google this and see if you can find anything about the doctor from Indiana at Camp Benjamin Harrison that 1918 vaccinated soldiers. Anyway, he was found to have poison germs in his vaccine. So he was immediately court-martialed and shot to death.
Oh, no.
So no time to defend yourself. Boom, boom, boom. You're dead. Justice was swift back then. And I have to say, I truly believe justice should be a little bit more swift these days.
You're not going to get an argument out of me. I'm swifter the better.
That story ran in the Carmi Tribune Times in 1918.
But still, I mean, maybe where did the vaccine come from? I mean, did he make it?
He probably, I'm guessing that he probably truly thought he was doing right.
Absolutely.
I doubt he was just this cold-blooded murderer masquerading as a doctor. Angel of death, perhaps. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to go with he probably thought he was really helping, and it is what it is. But yeah, boy, that's a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yep.
Wow.
William Reinhardt, he was in the 42nd Senatorial District. He was actually from Effingham, but he was in this area. He was been in the Illinois legislature for years, member of the Effingham Bar. He died in October of 1918 of Spanish influenza. The very next day, his brother Dan Reinhardt fell victim. Dan was very popular with the court officials. He was in the judicial district as well. These are just a couple of names that were more well-known people at the time, but it was affecting every household, every single household. In November of 1918 in Florida, it was reported there were 40 deaths in Florida alone due to the flu. So 40 deaths in November of flu. Think back to when COVID was like at its height in 2020. Was there ever a month where we had 40 COVID deaths in Florida alone? No.
Not even close.
Maybe 3, 4, 5 in 1 month.
Yeah. Wow.
Right, in 2020, but that was 40. That was only in November. That in October was really considered probably worse. By November, a month had passed since the original closing of all public places, and they thought it was under control. So they opened it all back up.
And guess what happened?
It wasn't quite yet. Harry Hogan and his wife and children, along with his mother-in-law, Mrs. John Gears, they all got very sick with influenza. So then that was a large family. They're like, you know what, let's give it a few more weeks. Closed everything again. Salem had 10 days prior to that reopened schools only to have everything come back immediately. They again closed down. It was that whole situation was kind of repeated off and on again. And then eventually everyone was like, all right, let's just stay closed until January of 1919. We'll reopen after the new year starts. And that's what they did. And I think when they reopened in 1919 in January, it was good for a while until that 1919 wave hit again a few months later. But altogether, it said that there were about 1,000 cases of the disease in Florida. Only Florida, not countywide. Countywide, back then, not all the numbers were completely reported. Not everyone was on the same page. There wasn't like what is that? Now you have to report stuff to the Illinois Department of Health or whatever.
Yeah, public.
None of that existed back then. So not all
there were
of
no
the numbers,
regulations on anything.
Yeah, so the numbers were not kept in any one place.
That's what's really, I don't know, real quick. Do you ever when you get those censuses and it's like you want to fill out the census, there's times that I'm like, really, do I need to do this? But it's, in order for us to continue growing and learning, you really need to fill out your census. We need to know what's happening and everything.
Yeah,
because I'm not going to lie, I get those census things. And I'm like, geez, that's so dumb.
I like doing those,
but
because
you really need to.
I like when I drive through a town, and ever since I was a kid, I like seeing the number on the population sign, like how many live there. If you don't fill out your census, how do you know how many live there?
That's right. Yeah, you have to. But how many people don't fill them out?
I don't don't know. Is that allowed? I feel like there's somebody that comes and knocks on your door if you don't.
I don't know. We always fill our census out.
I
don't know.
I think there's somebody that comes around and checks.
Yeah, I would think
if you
you'd have
haven't.
to.
If you're receiving mail, they know like, hey, this person has an address here. Where are they? Why haven't they turned it in?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a thing.
Maybe, yeah, but it's important to do that. Just note to self.
Yeah, note to self.
We need to know who's here and what they are.
Right.
You know, you got to keep track of. Keep track of numbers.
Like, I'm not a big I don't have a ton of respect for a lot of the Illinois Department of Health and places like that seemed like they were a little too crazy during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but there is a bright side to that. I mean, to keep those numbers straight now. Versus back then where everything was willy-nilly and all of these countries like Russia didn't report hardly any deaths.
China?
No.
Did they mention? They're not going to care.
Not hardly any mention of China.
They're not going to care.
But we know that there was a ton of deaths over there. I mean, we have some of their numbers from some regions, but not other regions. And it's like, yes, it was happening all over the world, and these numbers were high all over the world. It's just they didn't report them.
Right.
So the good thing, you know, at least in the United States now, we have a place that kind of keeps track of all those numbers. At least in the future, if there's 100 years from now and there's some other Beth Cooper sitting here talking, they might know more about whatever's happened.
Yeah,
you know,
I think it's
medically.
important. You need to fill out that census.
Yeah.
You need to know what's happening in the world. You need to know who's here and what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep everybody healthy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So there were, I did Google what people were treated with when they got sick. And you know the major thing, it was sold out everywhere.
Don't tell me. To treat this?
Yes.
Castor oil.
Nope.
I don't know.
Vicks Vapor Rub.
Well, you know what? I'm a big fan of Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah, I actually had an ad for that, but I didn't send it in. It was kind of a little bit blurry.
So Vicks Vapor Rub.
Vicks Vapor Rub, and
what they do, just put it around there so they breathe it in constantly.
Yeah.
Did you know you can get addicted to that stuff?
I did not know that.
But Vicks. A lot of people really now they got that kind that you can snort. You know the
what?
Vicks. Have you not seen that little tube? You can do that.
No.
Yeah, they say Vicks Vapor. You can get people can get really addicted to Vicks Vapor Rub.
Well,
I won't because it always made my eyes water.
I use it occasionally, but I've never once thought.
And then have you not ever seen that? You've never seen that? Yeah, it's a little tube that you just stick up your nose. Yeah, my sister Linda always got. She always had.
Is she addicted to it?
Well, I think she probably was at one time. I don't think she is anymore, but she had allergies all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, but before we go anymore, we're going to take another commercial break, and then we'll come right back and finish up our influenza.
All right.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting to work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Royal King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Royal King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine.
We are cracking each other up. We love to do that right before the camera comes back on. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we are talking about the Spanish flu, which isn't funny. That's not what we were laughing about.
That's not what we're laughing about. No, yeah.
We were talking about sugar is what we were talking about, and Stacey called it sweet crack. It is. I am addicted to sugar.
I love sugar.
Not Vicks Vapor Rub. I'm addicted to sugar.
And I call sugar my crack cocaine. So I call it sweet crack. Yeah,
and I do so good. I stay off of it, and I lose weight, and I feel better, and my clothes fit better. And then I start eating sugar again, and then my clothes don't fit. And
wham bam.
Yes, and I feel bad, and it's like, why do I do that? And it's like I can't just eat a little bit of it. Once I have a little bit, it's like my brain goes into like
crack
that's
cocaine.
All you want.
My methamphetamines is sugar.
Yeah. All right, so back to the somber topic at hand.
Yeah.
The Spanish influenza of 1918. There were a lot of famous people at the time that died from it. I Googled that. I had like 4 or 5 pages of names that came up. Hardly any of them meant anything to me because they've been dead since 1918, and they were famous then, but not famous enough that their name lived on. So
not like ours is going to. Just saying.
Just saying. But I will read through a few of them because there are people out there that might know a little bit. But King Watsky, he was an American violinist and band leader. He died in 1920. I've always wondered, like on the big band station, if I would. I wonder if I would hear him. King Watsky.
Love big band.
Pearl F. Specs Webster. They called him Specs. He was an American baseball player. You heard of Specs?
I've heard of Specs.
Okay, he died in 1918. Bill Yockey, he was a Major League Baseball executive and the owner of the Detroit Tigers.
Ooh.
He died from it. Frederick Trump, he was the grandfather of Donald Trump.
Of Donald?
His grandpa, died of Spanish influenza on May 30th of 1918.
Huh. Interesting.
This one I couldn't even pronounce. Anasini Takipo. She was the queen of Tonga. Their queen died of the influenza.
The queen of Tonga.
Okay. Tonga. I think it's a island.
I don't know.
Okay. This guy, he was on the list of famous people that died. And I read just a blurb about him. I'm like, that seems like there's a story there. I'm going to dig a little deeper into this one. His name was Anton Casimir Dilger. Okay. He was born in 1884, and he died in October of 1918 of the Spanish influenza, right at the height of it. He was a German-American medical doctor. Okay. German-American. This American part is important. And he was a main actor or person involved in the German biological warfare sabotage program during World War I. Okay, so his father's name was Hubert Dilger, and he was a United States Army captain, and he got a Medal of Honor for his artilleryman work in the Battle of Chancellorsville in the American Civil War. Okay, so his dad is this American Civil War hero. Okay, has the Medal of Honor for the Civil War. This is this guy's dad. And spoiler alert, Dilger was a bad guy, okay?
Yeah.
Anti-American. So he kind of got, did I send in a picture of, I haven't went through any of my pictures. So I have a picture of a Mr. Dilger tie. He's got a hat on. Yeah, this guy.
Okay, so who is this?
Okay, this is Anton Dilger. His dad was a Civil War hero.
Okay.
But this is during World War I, okay? So this guy was born in Virginia, then his parents moved to Ohio after the Civil War, but he was educated in Germany after he'd gone there at the age of 9. I'm not sure why his parents ended up sending him to Germany, if he had family there or what, but he went there and became a doctor in Heidelberg and Munich. Okay, he was worked at the surgical clinic. His dissertation for his doctorate involved growing animal cells and tissue culture, and he was unsuccessful at that, but he did graduate summa cum laude in 1912. So he was the grandson of Friedrich Tiedemann. So he was the director of anatomy at Heidelberg University. So So this guy was truly German American. One side of his family was big into the Civil War, his dad, but apparently his mom was from Germany, and he had been sent at the age of 9 to live with her very wealthy doctor grandfather. Okay, so this Dilger served in the U.S. Army Medical Corps, and he also, he was kind of on both. Basically, he was a spy. He was kind of working.
He's working on both sides.
He was
of
working
the
on
fence,
both
isn't he?
sides. And whenever he returned, so Germany gave him a bunch of basically poison, cultures of anthrax and glanders. I don't know what I know what anthrax is. I don't know what glanders is.
I don't either.
But they sent that back to the U.S. with him for the intention of biological sabotage on behalf of the German government's biological sabotage officer, Rudolf Nadolny. So the U.S. at this time was still neutral in the war. The U.S. hadn't jumped in yet. But Germany wanted to prevent the neutral countries from supplying the Allied forces with livestock. Okay, so they didn't want the U.S. to send any horses or cows or anything over to them, or to the Allied countries, not Germany. But Dilger had a passport that made it very easy for him to travel back and forth because he had family in both places.
He would literally had dual citizenship, probably.
Yeah. So along with his brother Carl, they just started this plan and going back and forth. And it's just called an amateur method, but it did get a little bit more advanced as the war progressed. But it went from needles to tubes. It had little bits of anthrax and stuff hidden in sugar cubes. But basically, in the beginning, he would take this anthrax and stuff, and he would get to the U.S. and he would paint it onto the nostrils of the horses that he could get a hold of in the U.S. So he was trying to kill
the animals,
the horses and stuff, so that none of these horses could be sent over to the Allied countries that were fighting Germany. So he was sabotaging, basically, is what he was doing. He was sabotaging everything. So yeah,
he's a nice fella.
Yeah, nice fellow, that one. But then along came he didn't get very far, because then it was 1918, and he died of Spanish influenza.
He died. Bummer,
dude.
Did he die in the States or in Germany?
I am not sure. I think in the States, but I'm not sure.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And
kind of scary.
I know. You hate to be like, well, he deserved it.
Well,
you can't, but
sometimes evil's got to go.
Sometimes God has a way of just taking care of things that are going to be a big problem.
Evil's
and maybe
got to go.
They could see that this guy was going to be a big problem, or he could see that
I have
and
a problem
just
with it. Yeah. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the story of Dilger.
I mean, the thing about it is with his death, probably thousands of other people are living. Yeah.
I didn't go through all my pictures. Ty, let's see what other pictures you have. We'll look at some of those before our next commercial. Oh yeah. Yeah. This is just Army Barracks Hospital, and just you can see that everyone is just lined up.
Gosh. And
you get a blanket and your cot, and it's not like a hospital bed now where you can lean up, and all
miserable.
these people are coughing with pneumonia, and they have them laying flat on their back, which I think is now a no-no.
That's not good.
Yeah, but I just feel bad. I feel bad for everyone, the sick people, because they're separated from their families, but I really feel bad for the nurses and the doctors who one after the other are burying, covering.
They're
these
working.
People.
They're working, and they're in the midst of it. They're exhausted, and their immune system is down, and they're around all these sick people.
Yeah, I think it would just be horrible.
I do
Not
too.
to mention, this is kind of gross, but the bathroom facilities.
Absolutely, totally different ballgame.
Like today's hospitals, everybody has their own bathroom. All of these men probably had diarrhea. This is getting graphic here, but where did they go? You see a bathroom there? All of these men, there's easily
Everybody's
over
got a
100
bedpan.
men. Yeah.
Buckets.
And the smell of that. Oh,
Gosh.
Atlanta.
What other pictures do you have?
Let's see what other ones I sent in, Ty. Yeah, here's another one. Just they do have, in this one, they have a sheet up
in
between and I don't know how much that really helped, but it probably felt like it did.
It's
and
like
then,
they're all intense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe it is a tent.
They're
instead
like
of a
little
sheet.
tents. They've got them all tented up.
Does it go over the top of the
I
bed?
think it looks like it. It kind of does.
I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
They're all masked up and yeah. Okay, let's see what other one. Oh, okay. This lady I'm going to talk about next. This is Rose Elizabeth Cleveland. She went by Libby, and she was born in 1846. She died in 1918. She was an American author and a lecturer, and she was the first lady of the United States from 1885 to 1886. Mm-hmm. So, have you ever heard of her? She was not married to Grover Cleveland.
No.
It was his sister. It was his sister. I did not know.
Yeah, maybe I did. That's
Okay.
might be ringing a bell.
So I had no idea that if you were an unmarried president of the United States, that you could bring in somebody else that was acting as the first lady of the United States. You knew that? I didn't know that.
It's coming back to me now. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I do remember that now.
Yeah, so she was the
first lady that was a sister. I kind of do remember that.
She was the acting first lady of the United States from 1885 to 1886 during the presidency of her brother Grover Cleveland. So she received an advanced education when she was a young lady, and she rejected traditional gender norms. Okay, she was a little bit of a tomboy, and saw a career for herself in like literary and academic positions. When her unmarried brother was elected president, she acted in the role of first lady until he got married, which he got married during his presidency to a woman named Frances Folsom. And
they kicked her out of the first.
Do we need to take a quick commercial break?
We're almost done. We're at the end of our show.
Oh, we're at the end of our show. Oh, gosh. I thought we still had another one left. Anyway, she was the
I thought maybe you might be confused when you said next commercial break. It's like,
I'm like, I'm still talking about her. Anyway, long story short, she died of the Spanish influenza.
The Spanish flu.
Yeah. So what do you have? You're going to end the show. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't know now. I'm like,
oh, okay. You want me to keep talking about her?
I think we're done.
Okay.
I like this quote. I don't know if I've ever said this one before or not. It's Thomas Edison.
Okay.
It's a short quote. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work.
Oh, I have seen that somewhere. That's really good.
I like that quote.
I like that too.
Well, yeah, because we talk about failure a lot on the show.
Yep.
And it's like,
it's not failure if you don't consider it failure.
It's not failure if you don't consider it failure. It's just, and then when something good, it's like in the hairdressing world, it's like, oh man, that didn't work. No, we call it new discoveries.
Yeah, I like that.
It's just like Jennifer Aniston's hair on Friends was a mistake.
Yeah,
we don't call mistakes. It's a new discovery that everybody, next thing you know, everybody and their dog is getting the Jennifer Aniston haircut.
The Rachel.
The Rachel.
The Rachel.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I had that haircut.
I bet you did.
I rocked it.
Did you rock it?
You bet I did.
Yeah, that was a good show. I mean, I liked that's learning something. Hopefully, some people learned some things about.
I hope so.
The Spanish flu.
Yeah.
I never did, but it does make sense because it's like they called it the Spanish flu. I just assumed it had something to do with Spain.
Nope.
So
nothing.
Their trick worked.
They blamed it on Spain.
They blamed it on Spain. And Spain was just sitting around going, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We didn't do nothing. But that's it. That's it for our show today.
So anyway, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time on By the Way with Beth and Stacey.
God bless you and have a great day.